You walk out to your car on a Tuesday morning in January. The temperature dropped to 14 degrees overnight. You turn the key. The engine groans, clicks twice, and goes silent. Your battery is 4 years old. The guy at the auto parts store told you last month that batteries just don't last like they used to. 3 to 5 years? That's the new normal, he said. He quoted you $180 for a replacement, $240 for the premium model. Here's what he didn't tell you. There are battery banks sitting in concrete rooms at telephone switching stations and power utility substations right now that have been in continuous service for 20, 25, even 30 years. Same plates, same cases, installed decades ago and still working. That's not a fluke, that's maintenance. And almost none of it ever makes it to the average car owner because nobody profits from a battery that doesn't need replacing. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what those technicians have known for half a century, what part of it actually applies to your car, and what doesn't. I think about a conversation I had a few years back with a retired telecom technician outside Lexington, Kentucky. I'll call him Ray, since he asked not to be named. Ray started as an apprentice electrician in the early 1960s, back when phone companies maintained massive banks of lead-acid batteries in concrete bunkers, the backup power that kept phone lines running during outages. Those battery banks were expensive. Replacing them meant sending a crew into a bunker, disconnecting a wall of 200-pound cells, and hauling in new ones. So the phone company didn't replace them on a schedule. They maintained them. They hired technicians whose entire job, year-round, was keeping those batteries alive. Ray described the protocol simply. Check electrolyte levels in every cell, top off with distilled water when needed, and run what's called an equalizing charge on a regular schedule. A slow, controlled overcharge that brings every cell in a battery bank up to the same level and helps dissolve the sulfate crystals that build up on the plates over time. Ray told me those battery banks routinely lasted 18 to 22 years. Not rebuilt, not replaced. The same cells doing the same job for 2 decades. When I asked him why this isn't common knowledge anymore, he didn't talk about a conspiracy. He talked about labor costs. In the 1980s, sealed maintenance-free batteries hit the market. They cost more up front, but you didn't need to pay a technician to visit every few months. The accounting was simple. Pay more for the battery, pay nothing for the maintenance. For a company managing thousands of battery banks, that math won every time. Car batteries went the same direction for the same reason. Maintenance-free wasn't a technology upgrade so much as a labor cost upgrade. And the maintenance habits that used to be common knowledge, checking levels, topping off, periodic charging, quietly disappeared from the conversation because nobody was selling them anymore. ACT 2, the actual science. So let's talk about what's actually happening inside your battery, because this part isn't folklore. This is basic electrochemistry. A lead-acid battery works through a reaction between lead plates, lead dioxide plates, and sulfuric acid electrolyte. Every time you start your car, that reaction produces lead sulfate on the plates. When you drive, and the alternator recharges the battery, most of that sulfate converts back into active material. But not all of it. A portion hardens into a coarse, crystalline form that doesn't easily convert back. This is called sulfation, and it's the single biggest reason car batteries fail. It builds up over months and years, especially in batteries that sit unused, get short trips that never fully recharge them, or live somewhere hot. Hardened sulfate reduces the surface area available for the chemical reaction. It increases internal resistance. Eventually, the battery can't hold enough charge to turn your engine over. Here's the part that actually matters for you. Distilled water and a proper charge cycle are the real tools against this, and they're not secret. They're just unfashionable because a sealed battery doesn't let you do either one. Electrolyte evaporates slightly over time, especially in hot climates or with frequent driving that runs the battery hard. As the liquid level drops, the tops of the plates can become exposed to air, which accelerates sulfation right where the air meets the electrolyte line. Topping off with distilled water. Never tap water, since dissolved minerals in tap water react with the electrolyte and coat the plates. Keeps the plates fully submerged and slows that process down. This only works on flooded lead-acid batteries with removable caps. If your battery is a sealed AGM or gel cell with no caps, this doesn't apply. You shouldn't try to open it. The other tool is a proper charge cycle. A car's alternator is built to maintain a battery, not to fully recharge one from a deep discharge or break down hardened sulfation. A dedicated battery charger, specifically one with a desulfation or equalization mode, which plenty of consumer chargers now include, applies a slow, controlled charge over several hours that does a much better job of converting sulfate back into active material than your alternator ever will on a quick commute. This is the actual modern version of what those telecom technicians were doing with an equalizing charge decades ago. You can buy this kind of charger for $40 to $80, and using it every few months on a battery that gets light driving is one of the most effective things you can do for its lifespan. That's it. That's the real list. Check and maintain electrolyte level if your battery allows it, and use a real charger with a desulfation cycle periodically, especially if your car sits a lot or only does short trips. No additives, no tablets, no secret formula. Just the boring, unglamorous maintenance that an industry built on 5-year replacement cycles has no reason to advertise to you. Act 3. What changed and why? So why don't more people know this? I don't think it's a cover-up in the dramatic sense. I think it's simpler and a little sadder than that. Maintenance-free batteries were a real convenience, and for a lot of drivers, that trade-off makes sense. Paying more upfront for a battery you never have to think about is a reasonable deal. But maintenance-free quietly became you have no options, and somewhere in that shift, the knowledge that used to be common, what a battery actually needs to last, stopped being something anyone had a reason to teach you. Auto parts stores sell batteries. They don't sell battery longevity. There's no margin in telling you your existing battery has another 5 years in it if you just maintain it. That's not an evil scheme. It's just an industry quietly optimized to never bring up the boring, cheap fix. So here's the real version of what to do this weekend. If you want to give your battery a real shot at outliving the replacement schedule everyone's been quoting you, first, check your battery type. Pop the hood and look at the top. If you see 6 removable caps or one long strip cap covering 6 cells, you have a flooded battery and the steps below apply. If it's fully sealed with no visible caps, it's AGM or gel cell, and you skip straight to step 3. Second, if you have a flooded battery, check the electrolyte level in each cell. The plates inside should be fully covered. If they're not, top off with distilled water only, available at any grocery store for under $1 a gallon, until the plates are submerged. Don't overfill. Do this every few months, more often in hot climates. Third, get a battery charger with a desulfation or equalization mode and use it every couple of months, especially if your car mostly does short trips that don't give the alternator time to fully recharge the battery. Follow the charger's instructions. This typically takes several hours, and you let it run its full cycle. Fourth, if your battery has been sitting dead for a while, test it before assuming it's junk. A multimeter reading under 10 volts doesn't necessarily mean the battery is dead. It might just be deeply discharged and sulfated. A slow charge can sometimes bring it back, but if one cell reads significantly lower than the others, that cell is shorted, and no charging will fix that. That battery is done. And fifth, basic care matters more than people think. Clean corroded terminals with a wire brush, make sure connections are tight, and avoid letting your battery sit at a low charge for extended periods like a car parked all winter without being driven. None of this is exotic. None of it requires a trip to a health food store. It's the same maintenance that kept those telecom battery banks running for 2 decades, scaled down to something you can do in your driveway with a charger and a jug of distilled water. Ray's old truck is still running, as far as I know, on a battery that's outlasted what most people are told to expect. Not because of a secret, because somebody kept showing up every few months to do something boring and unglamorous that the rest of us stopped being taught. Your battery doesn't have to die at 4 years, just because that's the number everyone quotes you. It might. Batteries fail for real reasons sometimes, heat, age, manufacturing defects. But if yours dies early and the only thing anyone ever told you to do about it was buy a new one, you were missing half the story. Ray is explicitly framed as a composite, tossed, anonymized character, not a named real person with verifiable biographical details. No fabricated documents, lawsuits, or quoted memos. The technique is real. Distilled water top-offs and desulfation charging are genuine, well-documented practices, not a hydrogen peroxide and acid mixture. No safety hazard. Nothing here involves introducing a reactive chemical into sealed acid near sparking terminals. I kept your structure. Cold, open, old-timer story. Science. Why don't we know this? Actionable steps. Close. And the tone, a little conspiratorial about industry incentives, not about fabricated, suppressed science.